All right, Matt Cannon, Jers. We are once again back. I'm in a better mood than I was last week. Thankfully, things didn't go wrong yesterday down the stretch for Mr. Davey T. The vibes are better for me. I know you were mixing there from, I guess, from a distance with Thor. He kind of got his hat into the mix. How'd you enjoy the JDC? How'd you enjoy your 4th of July weekend? And how are you doing?
First of all, congrats. You were very due, as you definitely know you were due, trending the last 3 weeks. And finally got that winner with Davey T. Yeah, it was honestly a fun event. Like, a few guys got out to hot starts, and Davey T just didn't even, he just looked so in his own, at times, like, he looked upset, like you were saying. He just, like, looked so odd, like, for a golfer in his position, but probably for the better. Didn't even care that anyone was shooting on, like, anyone was on 59 watch. He was just doing his thing. Just post a 29, business casual, no big deal. Gets the job done and wins by 4. So Davey T, guts, great showing with that 54-hole lead, and it was honestly a pretty fun JDC. With that was an extreme birdie fest, but just lean into it, just make it so extreme, and that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, I've actually been. This has been true of the last few weeks, and I think it became. We talked about this on Travelers Week, where it like really jumped out. Obviously, we don't want Birdie Fest every event. I want a nice mix of events, but I used to be like out on Birdie Fest in general. I'm kind of down for them now. Like, I've got nothing against a Birdie Fest. I think they're like, people make it sound like they're harder to handicap. I think they're easier to handicap because like you get rid of a lot of things that can go wrong and you just kind of focus on the things that can go right for players. But I'm a fan of Birdie Fest. They're fun to watch in person, like we said, because you can just see guys stripe repeatedly and you kind of get to see these guys at their best, which is cool. How's your 4th? You were down there on the Jersey Shore. Did you see Matt Fitz? Were you part of his photo shoot down there? Or how did that go?
I think I just missed the photo shoot by a few hours, but I was definitely very near. Sadly, I missed that. Definitely would have gave him a few pointers. But yeah, it was pretty fun 4th. I did the right thing by not going out on Friday or Saturday. I had my fun from Monday through Thursday because as a local, the shore bars are just a cross off for the 4th of July weekend. It just too much going on. We have our fun every other week of the summer. Let the people from up north or wherever enjoy it. So too busy, but it was a pretty fun 4th. Did you do anything special?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same in the city where there's like a lot of people come into the city. So all the kind of like stuff is busy. But the nice thing was from my apartment roof, we could see the fireworks that they did in the Hudson that were on NBC. So that was kind of cool to like see that without having to really do anything. But it's been, as you know, super hot over here in New York. Very humid. As somebody from the PNW, the humidity is still getting used to it after a few years here. But where it will not be humid, where it will not be hot, is Scotland, is the UK, where we will have boots on the ground next week. We're flying out Friday night. We're headed over to give the people the best content that we can give from the P rounds at Troon. We're going to be playing some golf as well. We may have a tee time first thing Monday morning at Prestwick, the home of the first ever Open. We're going to get the experience of Prestwick. We're going to let the Open juices kind of marinate for us. From the OG. It's right next door to Troon. Then we're going to walk directly over to Troon. So Monday, we're going to really hopefully have a fantastic pod for everyone. And then, of course, up on the site, $9.99 for a weekly, $34.99 for a monthly. We'll be covering boots on the ground, of course. And this week, 3 different events will be up on the site. We've got the Genesis Scottish Open. We've got I think it's the ISCO now. It's a shame that the Barbie, the deodorant or the shaving cream sales must not be what they have been recently. Barbasol had to drop out as sponsor there at Keen Trace. And then, of course, LIV Valdy. LIV Valderrama. I think they call it like Andalusia, but it's LIV Valdy for me. So all that's going to be up on the site. Of course,
big week for sure.
Yeah,
big
huge week this week, and then obviously next week, a couple events again. Then we get into some of our favorite events, the 3M Wyndham to finish out the month. So get over to the site if you are so inclined. Get into the Discord. The Discord continues to get better and better. We've got people now posting LPGA like content and cards.
Yeah, we're deep in the weeds.
like they're Vincerix people because they're in the Discord. They're Vincerix guys, but they're not like writing for the site, for example. They just like to bet on the LPGA, so people are doing that. So really fun community, which is we've always said is just as exciting as like some of the stuff that goes up on the site. So get in there. We've got tennis, Wimbledon's going on. We've got the US Open coming up soon in the Discord as well. And then of course, for those who just like to enjoy the podcast, we appreciate if you could like and subscribe, leave a comment. We got some nice comments last week. We really appreciate that, and continue to just enjoy doing the pod and getting it out there. It's like we always say, in front of the ball knowers, but so much to get to. We don't want to spend too much time on that. We'll quickly run through what took place at the JDC because I think there was some interesting things, and obviously I want to do a quick Vic lap. I've been
gotta do your Vic lap.
Been on the cusp of some Vic laps the last couple of weeks, but Davey T, we talked about him on the pod. If you want to go back and listen, the timestamps are in there. I think we nailed the Davey T talk last week. He's been a guy who has all the talent in the world. We saw him at Pinehurst. We specifically saw him at Pinehurst and looked at each other and go, when is Davey T going to start playing like he should? And that was right around when he started playing how he should. Played good at Pinehurst.
G9.
Played good there at Rocket. Obviously played amazing last week. He 3-putted twice on Friday on the back 9. He could have won this by probably 6 or 7 if he didn't do that. Ian Baker Finch must listen to the pod because he kept bringing up the Scotty comparison. That was our take last week. Ian Baker Finch, a fan of the pod, he was listening in. B. Todd as well apparently said that he thinks this is a future major winner Ryder Cupper. Obviously, I was following him pretty closely all week. I was on him, wanted him to play well. If somebody wasn't on him, what were your thoughts about how he played for the week? And just maybe going forward, what are your thoughts on Davey T?
Yeah, I mean, had strong thoughts about him coming in. Not mad at all that I didn't pull the trigger on Davey T. Just went for some more higher numbers and had guys somewhat in the mix on Sunday. So no beef at all there. Happy that you got the winner. But yeah, just dominance from like start to finish. Obviously, he wasn't like the wire to wire guy, but he played 4 solid rounds of golf. And like I had to take on Saturday night when I was doing some other live shows, and like the 54-hole leader doesn't always work out at the JDC because it's usually a first-time winner in like a spot that they're not used to being in, and like putting the pedal down is a lot harder to do than like play defensive. And at a birdie fest,
and we saw that with Collin Rye, like that's I think also made Davey's performance more impressive because like you could see
exactly
what happens to other guys. Ryan Cole played
like no one really would have been surprised if Davey T just put up a comfortable like 3 under, and like I mean, it would have been a lot different down the stretch on 16, 17, 18. So yeah, it's just a hard thing to do. And it's no one's fault. It's just like how the game of golf works. It's hard to be in that spot. So I was happy with my chasers going into Sunday with Michael Thorbjornsen and Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak were like my like 11 under guys going into Sunday. And I was like, thought they had an outside chance, or not 11 under, wherever they were. But it didn't work out close, but they put the job done. They're probably just a little too far back on Sunday, but no beef at all. I'm happy with the way the week turned out.
Yeah, and I mean, Davey T putted tremendously. He kind of did everything good. I mean, obviously, if you're going to shoot 28 under, you got to do everything good. He was 4th tee to green and 5th putting. That's going to put you in a good spot pretty much everywhere you play. I thought his final round was interesting because he clearly, we've talked about this before with Davey T, like, he kind of looks weird out there. Like, I don't know how to describe it. He doesn't look very comfortable. And I mean, there's a reason why a player with all of the skills and the talent that he has, I mean, his swing is just beautiful to watch. It took this long to break through. It didn't take a long time, obviously, only a couple of years on tour. But I would say that the mental side, being comfortable out there, is the area of weakness or the thing that he's been trying to improve. And you could see it in that final round. Like, he was stepping off shots all the time, didn't look entirely comfortable, couldn't really drive it straight. But what I liked about it is he was playing at a glacial pace. But if you're uncomfortable, if you can't like get in that state of mind, take your time. No need to rush.
Like me.
Yeah, hit when you're ready. Jers does when the pressure's on. Jers gets into a Scotty Scheffler like approach to his game, but it works. You got to do it works. But he got into his process. Like, he didn't hit until he was ready. And we talked about it going into the week and why I liked him. For such a talented ball striker, which he clearly is, it was his around the green play that I think won him the tournament. He got up and down on the par 5s on the drivable 4s so
Number
often.
2 when you were pissed.
Yeah, and for a guy with like that strong of ball striking and that beautiful of a golf swing and kind of a bomber type of player, bomber build, his short game's really good. My comp, I don't know if he gets to this level. I think he definitely can. is Xander. He reminds me of Xander a
Okay.
little bit in his
Well
game. What do you
rounded.
think about that?
Yeah, no, I like that because he checked those boxes of making those clutch putts, making those long putts, and getting up and down. Like I wasn't watching on when he was on hole 2, but I'd say he was like 40 yards over the green, and he put it to 3 feet. Like that was a sick shot. So Xander does those things. Xander makes those lag putts, but the lag putts were a bit of a mess, I guess, on Friday, Saturday when he did 3 putts. He was burning everything past, and you were like, this guy doesn't care. He's just trying to go back of the cup, just full aggressive. But Birdie Fest, you kind of got to be aggressive. You can't leave anything short. So whatever he did, it worked. So he's still young, but he's checking boxes, doing everything right. He's got all the talent in the world. Like Cam Davis got that long, lanky build, talented. One earlier in his career though. So good things are coming for Davey. Hope maybe I don't want to say floodgates yet, but we're trending in the right direction.
And we've seen the JDC be a springboard to major success. Obviously, Bryson Spieth, even Straka last year, then almost. I mean, he didn't almost win because Harman was so far ahead at the Open, but Sepp instantly played good at the Open. So good work from Davey T. I woke up on yesterday morning and kind of said to the golf gods, if you do this to me again, I don't know if I can continue on this journey after the Tom and Akshay. So glad to get one over the line. Makes it a little bit easier. This is a week.
Did you get nervous at all? Because I saw you guys texting the final like 6 holes. I was on the course. So I wasn't watching. I was tracking. But did you get nervous for like Thor Bjornsson because when he went on that 6 birdie run, or Griffin?
The only time I got a tiny bit nervous, not even nervous, but like I wanted to see what happened when Thor got to 14, because I thought he could maybe eagle it, just because like he was driving it so good that if he could give himself an eagle look, when he 3-putted that to me, that's when I like
that would have been 7 in a row, right?
Yeah,
birdies.
And what I was doing was I was flashing back to Valero when I had Akshay, and Denny made like infinity birdies in a row. So I was like, this is going to happen to me again. Luckily, it didn't. What I was going to say about the aggressiveness of Davey T was somehow, all of a sudden on Sunday, his speed on his putts was amazing, and he made all those long putts that he was just missing. But what I liked that he did was probably until about hole 11, maybe 12, he was so aggressive. He was aiming at the pin on every hole like that. The best shot he hit of the week was the 4-iron into 9 that he stuffed to like 6 feet from 240. But he kept shooting. He kept going at the pins. Like he was like, I need to make birdies. That's all that matters. Because if he didn't, he would have. I don't think that would have been the result as it was, because all the other guys were shooting at pins. You get in the lead. You play like, because Collin, Rye. Let's talk about them briefly. Cole,
it's pretty on brand for Rye. Like he's been doing it the last few years, and I've been in this camp with Cole since he's been on the tour. Like he's never going to win. He will backdoor a T10, but if he gets in that position, he will go backwards or be stagnant. Like the only time he's mixed was that you said RSM and you had him outside of Honda, which was like before he was even like on tour. I was just like coming out party. From there, it's just too much for Eric Cole. Truthfully.
I mean,
whatever.
At the end of the day, too, because JDC is obviously an easy course. The winner was 28 under, but still, you got to take dead aim at the flags. He can't hit it to right flags. His shot, he can only hit draws. Like you can't win on the PGA Tour with one shot shape. I have him firmly on my no dog list after the RSM. I was getting some pushback from some folks last week that I had him on the no dog list because it's like he hasn't mixed that much. No, he's on the no dog list. He's got no dog. He can only hit draws. I respect how much he's gotten out of his game and that he made it to the tour like this long. But at the end of the day, if it took you this long to get to the tour, that speaks a little bit about your dog as well. And Rye, I don't have much to say about Rye. I'm glad that he's such a nice guy. Like I think I've been happy that he's been in the final group with my guys the last couple of weeks because he's such a nice dude. But again, we said this about him last week. If you're only carrying it so far off the tee, if you're not in fairways, that makes it tough. You were on Thor. It was a great week for the young guns, without a doubt. I tweeted that it's time to expand PGA Tour U. It's time to trim the fat. And I think people took that. And I guess to some degree, this is what I meant. Like guys like Webb Simpson and Kuchar being in signature. That even isn't necessarily what I meant. I mean, in these events or like the opposite field events, when you're on Twitter and all of a sudden the guy who posts the field changes is like Joe Blow, the 1977 winner of like the East Tennessee Classic, has earned his way into the field. That's the shit that I don't want any more of. Anytime we're doing that, just add a college player instead. Add an amateur. Add one of the young Swedish guys for potential Viking Cup. Like the young guns. What other sport do they not replace old players with young players every year? they do it. They have a draft with a ton of players every single time. And I get historically golf has been a sport where older players can keep playing, and obviously they can. But things are changing. The distance and the driving off of the tee, the information, the data that these guys have had, there is a giant difference now between the young players and the longtime PGA Tour players. A guy who's 40 years old on the PGA Tour who never mixes at all and has never won isn't going to figure out how to bomb it off of the tee. They can't. It's impossible. It's
not going to do
the same way that a 40-year-old in the NBA can't run around and play with the 20-year-olds in the NBA. Like, times are changing, and we need to get the young guns in. Jers, I'm upset about it. I'm hot. And I would say almost a universal agreement on Twitter. It just makes sense. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing it all year, these guys, and we've been seeing it the last few years. Guys just come out and just have zero fear. Like, I think that the Morikawa, Hovland, Wolf group, like, they just really, since then, they just come out and like they're like, they don't know anything else but to play golf and just fire at pins and bomb the ball. And it's really fun. Like, new fun golfers are like insane. Clanton is absurd. Seeing tracking Clanton and seeing 371 off the tee with the 175 into a par 5. It's like, you can have a take about it, roll it back. It's just funny. Like, what the hell? This kid is 20 years old, not big by any means. And like, walking by these kids, like when we saw Sam Bennett at the Pinehurst, I was baffled as to how skinny and small he was. And like, that's not a shot at Sam Bennett. That's like a compliment. He's the size of like your fourth string corner on your junior varsity football team, and he hits the ball 330. That is impressive and skill. And these kids just know how to swing, know how to hit the ball in the right spot with the angles and the speed and the timing. And there's more and more of them coming out, and that's just going to amplify over the next decade. So shout out Clanton, shout out Thor Bjornsson. Great week for the Viking Cup. The council is still in order, trying to figure out where his allegiance will be, but I think it's trending in the right direction. But it is a concern that he's not playing in Scotland this week, because I think that would have solidified it.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to say too. And before I get to that, Thor and Clanton's profiles statistically last week were identical, legitimately the exact same, like almost to the number, the exact same. And these guys, and I think we saw it, obviously Dunlap won the Amex, and these guys played well here. They know how to make birdies. That's their area. These young guys are coming out. That's their area of expertise, is birdie making. So then why not get these guys into the more difficult events? Get them to Bay Hill, get them to Memorial, get them over to Scotts, let them get some experience in different conditions. That's what they need. If you want these guys to become stars, they already know how to make birdies. We see
the tour is so dumb.
Yeah, we see they can make birdies. Cool. Sure, put them in the Birdie Fest events. Let them prove themselves there at first. But do you want to have guys mixing in majors at a young age? Do you want get them to the tough courses? Let them get that experience, because that's not what they're getting as much in the college game or in the amateur game. So it doesn't make any sense. Why is Thor and Luke send them over to Scotts? Let's get them to Scotts. What are we doing? Doesn't make any sense. We digress. They'll be at the Barbie, the ISCO. I'm going to call it the Barbie probably for the rest of the show, just because.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. Is it the ISCO or the ISCO? I'm not sure.
That's a reasonable question as well. It's probably the ISCO, because it's all caps, but
right.
It's tough.
I just remember that. I remember the shout out Ryan, the man we met in Louisville. He said ISCO.
Oh, so. Did he? Okay. If that's what, shout out Tim as well. If
he's there today. He's there today.
Yeah, I assume you'll be getting some insight, potentially boots on the ground from him. He famously was in the final. Was it the walking score for Scotty the day that he got arrested? I look forward to getting some boots on the ground reporting from him. Quickly, just wanted to talk about Denny. You tweeted out his track record on the TPC courses. Both him and Sungjae, actually. Let's talk about it together, because I think we nailed the performances that we were going to see from Denny and Sung. Deeply unserious performances. Specifically, Denny. He chipped in for Eagle or hold out for Eagle twice. Separate times. No, he did it on Thursday. Also, like he did it on 17. He made some crazy chip from off the green. Like, dude, just I know he's more your guy.
It's just Denny. Like, he's not my guy.
He's your guy.
I mean, I hate him. You know that.
You didn't bet him last week. I appreciate that. But will Denny win on the PGA Tour? Do you think he can do it?
It'd have to be I think he'd have to post a number and have guys fuck up at the end. Truthfully, I don't trust him. Like what both Sungjae and Denny did on Saturday is hilarious. And obviously Sungjae's won more than Denny, but I do not trust him in any field either.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was, like, he was model number 1 deserving the last week. Everybody was on him, but we said it, and it's true. You don't bet Sungjae like in these low prices because he's got 0.0000 dog. Look at his major record. He's good at everything. He's a phenomenal golfer, no question about that. But if you're betting somebody to win the tournament, I don't know what Sungjae has done to prove it to us. He made like 5 or 6 birdies in a row to start the day yesterday. It's all there. But when you've only won,
he had no chance to win.
Yeah. But we're seeing all these young guys now. And that's the thing. Like the last 3 weeks, the near misses that I had were Tom, Akshay, obviously young guns, Davey T, a little bit older, but still young in the grand scheme of things. Sungjae's a young gun, but like what has Sungjae done yet to prove that he's any more of a talent than these other young guns that are coming up?
Reps. That's it. That is it. And like you can't quantify that. That's even like maybe just course history. I've seen the golf course before, but he doesn't even know the golf course. He doesn't know the numbers because he doesn't have communication.
Shout out to Willie. Willie continues to mint money this year. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Willie's the luckiest man in America, getting to just carry Sungjae's bag around the course and play golf every day and make like $1 million off of Sungjae. It doesn't get much better than that. If for whatever reason Willie ever gets fired, Sungjae, give me a call. I'll happily. We'll still do the pod. We probably have to shut down the site, but I'll just carry your clubs around. We'll hang out, put $1 million in the bank. It'll be great.
No beef.
But a great week at the JDC. It was great to see BSB, our boy, up there playing well again. The putter's starting to heat up for BSB. Keep your eyes on that. Keep your eyes peeled. I kind of wish he was playing the ISCO. But
I bet him at 50-1 in the ISCO last year, and I was looking. I was like, is he around the same number? And then he's just not in the field.
But it is nice that he gets to go over to Scotland. Hopefully, he plays well. Maybe we can get to see him.
Oh, he's playing Scotland?
I think I saw that he was in the field. Yeah.
Let's go.
Shane BP, random Euro of the week 17th. Sammy Valimaki, other random Euro of the week T12. Was glad to see that. It was nice to see the random Euro of the week turn out pretty well. Now that we're headed across the pond, we need to be in the right state of mind for the random Euro of the week, specifically this week, because this is going to be the longest random year of the Euro, or random Euro of the week opportunity of the year. But a great JDC. Can't wait for it again next year. It was nice to see Davey T riding in a John Deere tractor to the trophy ceremony, because they usually the trophy ceremony is not on TV because they did the early start. CBS had nothing else to show, so they were showing the trophy ceremony, and it was quite the scene. I will say, and also I've been meaning to say this, it's not worthy of a tweet, but quickly, shout out to Andrew Catalan. He's great. The guy who does the play-by-play in these random events. He actually, like, Ian Baker Finch still says a bunch of crazy stuff that makes no sense, but I like the vibe of Catalan and Ian Baker Finch and Dottie and Nablo in these random events. They fit the style of event, and Catalan does a great job. And I don't know what the plan is when Jim Nance retires, but I think Catalan's doing a nice job of like proving himself as capable of being the guy. He is doing a good job. I have no beef with him. I like the CBS crew. What's your take on Colt? I like Colt, but he gets a kickback. I feel like maybe here and there he tries to joke too much and it doesn't always hit, but yeah, I don't mind him. I like him when it's the Golf Channel coverage before, when they're you're easing into the round, you're just kind of joking around. And I don't dislike him. I'd say I'm neutral probably on the spectrum of people who like him or dislike. There's definitely times where I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Just like stop. Yeah. And what I really don't like is of all of the people, he gives away what's going to happen on the shot more than anyone. He'll be he'll be like, this one's really makeable. And then they make it every time. Like, don't do that. Like, if you know what happens, just like play it off better. My favorite is Dottie. Obviously, Dottie's the GOAT. And I also like rank your like on course, like the people that walk with the groups. For CBS, I mean, like Wood's really good. He's NBC, but I like Wood. Yeah. I like Dottie the best. I think she does a great job. I also like yesterday she was in the tower, so she gets to call more things. But I didn't know that. Boots on the ground. I like Dottie the best. I really Smiley is elite. Smiley is elite. He's also our boy. So Smiley's number one, both on the course and in our hearts. So we'll give number one to Smiley. I do like Wood. I liked when Bones was doing it. I'm glad that Bones is doing it again. I really like, though, probably higher in my power rankings. I don't know how this isn't something that I see people talking about, but I really like Mark Immelman. Like when he's out there,
so good,
so good.
Well, him and Trev are both good. Like when they're out. Like I mean, Trev's in the booth, but they are both really good.
Yeah, like if it was a major and there's going to be 3 like people on the ground, I would probably go Dottie, Mark Immelman, and then I don't even know this guy's name. He does a lot of the DP on the ground. He's not the guy with the British. He's the American guy who does the DP World Tour stuff. He's really, really good.
The guy with the British accent isn't that great. He just kind of just there because
Rocket or whatever. He's kind of like the cult European. Of the he's there.
I know what you're talking about.
All right, that's actually a great segue into the Genesis Scottish Open at the Renaissance Club over there in Scotland, North Berwick. It's right next door to some of the best links in the world. I believe Muirfield's right there. North Berwick is right there. Goulane, Golan, the
I think
UK Golan. Yeah. It's on the east coast of Scotland. I was there when I went to St. Andrews a couple of years ago. Renaissance isn't an old links. It's new. It's American made. It's hosted the Scottish for 5 years now. We've seen Bernd Wies, Aaron Rye, Min Woo. It's officially Min Woo season. Xander and Rory win here. We've seen the last couple of years extremely windy events, at least for a couple days last year and pretty much throughout the tournament the first year. It's an important week to check the weather. We've got the weather link up on the site. I'm seeing very benign condition, Jers. I'm seeing hardly any wind whatsoever. I'm seeing a lot of rain. I'm seeing some very easy scoring conditions, probably the easiest of the 3 years that we've had here at the Scottish Open. With that being said, A, do you also see that? And B, what's your profile? And is your profile any different knowing that the conditions might be easier than they have been in recent renditions?
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that this is a golf course that you can be aggressive off the tee. And I mean, you kind of have to have the complete build. I feel like more lengths courses is more driver putter, but I think here you kind of got to hit iron shots because the greens complexes are more raised than regular links courses. That links is like, what links is flat golf. This is more modernized and Americanized with some higher up green complexes and asks you like to stop balls from height rather than just roll it up. So you got to check a lot of boxes, but you can do either way. You can have a driver putter week or you can ball strike it. So I think there's various ways to succeed. We saw Rory have a good putting week, but also hit his irons really well last year. So I think this is a golf course we got to be coming in with some nice incoming form and maybe have seen it before or maybe have I don't think it's going to be a random winner. I think there's going to be a guy with at least somewhat of a name. It's not the most elite field in the world, but somewhat of a name.
Yeah, I totally agree with pretty much all of that. To your point on incoming form, I think that's maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. Like, and yes, I know that's not rocket science. Having good incoming form helps you at all tournaments, but it's very, I almost never do a write-up on the site where I lead with like incoming form is the thing that matters.
Right.
I'm working on the write-up right now, and that's what I'm leading with because of the 5 winners here back to when it was just a sole DP World Tour event. Here was their previous finish the week before, whatever their last start was before the Scottish. Rory T7, Xander win, Minwoo T17, Rye second, Wiesberger T2. They all gained with the flat stick the week before. They all were obviously in solid enough form, not necessarily long term, but just the week before. Some of these guys were kind of struggling. They played good the week or the previous event before. And the form kind of translates. Like if you look at their stat lines those weeks too, in each of the strokes gained categories, it looks very similar to what their winning stat line was the week that they won. So at the end of the day, keep it as simple as possible when you see things like this. How players are playing in recent weeks, those stat lines just kind of translate over to this course. Like it's basic enough as a links that everything you've been doing, you can kind of just do here. There's nothing that stops you from doing any of the things of your style of game. Like you can just play your game here. And if you're playing well, it's going to work. So I agree. There's a reason I think that we've had near favorites or below 20-1 win here the last couple of years.
Especially when the weather gets harder.
Yeah. So I think we've got right. So I think we've got easier weather. I think it's like if you're looking for longer shots, it's going to be guys who are in good form, but for whatever reason, like maybe they're lesser names or things like that. That's why they're down the odds board. But I don't think this is a week where you see like a guy who's got some stat and you're like, oh, this is the secret stat that's going to like elevate him up the board. I think is this guy playing good in kind of across the board? Is the putter hot? Is the approach play hot? And I do think that's where the difference of it being a little bit easier versus previous years. When it's windy, distance is always useful because at the end of the day, you want to as much power as you can when it's windy. I don't think that's going to be the factor this week. I think it's more of a spike approach, spike putting week than it maybe has been the last couple of renditions. And I think we see better scoring than we have in recent years. But to your point, the field to me, I hadn't really looked at it till last night when I was starting to dig in for the week. I was surprised that it seemed weak to me. Like maybe it's just because Scotty isn't in there that like throws off my like reading of the field. Obviously, Pat Ice isn't there. I think he'd be my lock of the week if he was in Scotland this week. Tone. So
is Burns there?
No. See, that's the thing. Like it kind of drops off. I mean, when you've got like Bez 70-1 is kind of like where the field drops off, but Bez 70-1, these are kind of just normal numbers, I would say, on a lot of the guys like down the board, in the sense that it's not one of those fields where it's like the top of the board is all under some price and you get all these guys extended out long in the odds. Down the board's actually not that good, which makes me, having said that, I just wasn't thinking of this before those words came out of my mouth, but it just popped in real time. It makes me kind of think that the top of the board may be the opportunity here. That's not, again, rocket science after everything that we just said. Plus you add in the fact that the top of the board has won here the last couple of years. But because there's not as much depth in the middle of the field, I think these longer odd numbers are going to be kind of shitty. Once we get from like the 70, 80, 90-1, those guys would be 150-1 if there was a little bit more at the top of this field. And we do have some solid names here at the top. We've got Rory, we've got Xander, we've got Collin, and we've got Lud. I'm actually not going to include Lud because I think everything we're seeing with the young guns now is actually diminishing some of Lud's clout. I think that actually hurts him a little bit. Rory, Xander, Collin. Rory 7, Xander 8, Collin 12. Do you like any of those?
If I had to pick one, it'd probably be Xander. But I'm thinking that I want to take my chances with a few guys to maybe break through and have a big win in a big spot. But I think if I had to pick one, it would be Xander. Obviously, one here can either spike with the putter or spike with the approach. And I mean, has that distance. I mean, it's freaking Xander Schauffele. What do you want me to say? He's perfect in every aspect. I don't think the time off is going to help Rory right now immediately. Like he's going to get his feet wet again, maybe be back for next week. And then Collin, I tweeted out yesterday, is the first time ever he's gained strokes in every single category in 4 straight events, which is like a very nice accomplishment for any golfer. But obviously, I don't feel like this is the perfect golf course for Collin, although he can gain with the approach and the putter's been hot, and he has won in Scotland before, or in England before, in the UK. So I would pick Xander in here. What about you?
Yeah, I think like most likely to win of these guys, I would agree, is Xander for all the reasons that you said. I don't think the number on Collin is bad. Like he's been rough. I think I saw 14s, there's 12s. That's kind of where he normally is in these types of field. And that's usually when Scotty is in the tournament. So Collin's kind of the same odds that he has been. Want to know who won on the links when it was easier than it normally is? Collin Morikawa. So yeah, like if we get easier conditions, and this isn't, British golf, like it's not windy, it's not firm and fast, it's hit the fairway and then hit the green and make a ton of birdies. I like Collin Birdie Fest. We saw him almost win Rocket. If you can almost win Rocket, what I also like Collin and why I think this is an overarching take, not just for Collin. There's other guys who I think it applies to. The greens are slow. These are slower greens. You can be aggressive here. We saw that at RBC, the Canadian Open, for example, where guys were making a lot more, or guys who were good on slow greens. A lot of the European players were putting well. This is something Rye brought up at the Rocket Mortgage. He was like, I'm putting well this week because the greens are slower, and they were slower at JDC last week, and he putted well too. So get Collin on slower greens. The way and he's just putting better in general. I like that. But yeah, Xander and Collin, obviously, their performances at Valhalla, and I'm not comparing Renaissance to Valhalla. Maybe there's some, maybe you could, but like they're low scoring events where the driving isn't too difficult and it becomes kind of iron play and putting. I think the number's most fair, I guess, on Collin of those guys. I don't think I'm strongly considering it, but I don't hate it with how he's playing. And we're talking about informed guys. Collin's just incredibly informed, and he doesn't have a win yet this year, and we know he's hungry for that.
I could see myself getting to Xander if it drifts to like 9.5, but I don't know if I could stomach the 8.5 because then from there I don't know what else I could fit. And I really only like maybe as of Monday morning early 2 to 3 golfers that I really can say I want to bet outright. And I'm gonna take there's not a hot take or stand. There's gonna be so many European golfers that we're gonna talk about because we're DP World Tour truthers. But I don't think a DP World Tour golfer is gonna win. But I think all these guys that we're gonna talk about in the future, like they get top 10, they could maybe top 5 first round leader type guys. But I'm gonna make a card of only PGA Tour guys in both this event and the ISCO Barracuda. So I'm gonna be doing that just because. With golf outright betting, you just have to take stands if you can. And if you can eliminate something, it can go in your favor. And then from there, you have less guys to possibly win, or it can just not go in your favor and then you're just beat to begin with. So I like taking stands, and I'm going to go with a PGA Tour player is going to win both of these events this week.
Yeah, and I think I think they've won all of the events that are crossovers so far, right?
Yep, they have. Yeah, because last year was the only time they did it, and it's been.
No, I think they did the last. They've done it the last 2 years.
Oh, last 2 years.
And last year was obviously Vinny
Norman, and then Kuda was Akshay.
And then the year before Kuda was Ches, and the Barbie was
Molinax.
Yeah,
and I think the only real chance was Kimsey. Then no one really.
Yeah, Nathan Kims. Yeah. So I support that take for sure. Do you agree with my Ludwig take that seeing all these guys coming out gaining 6 off the tee actually diminishes a tiny bit of like this is the greatest golfer ever? 100%. Because it may just point to the fact that all these young guns are going to nuke it off the tee and gain infinity strokes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the reason that he was the person that he was is because it was the first rendition of PGA Tour U. We're going to see this every year now. So yeah, Ludwig's awesome. I think he's a great golfer and is going to win a ton. But the stars are bright. There's going to be so many good players, and that the PGA Tour this is the first chance I feel like the PGA Tour has a chance to wean out the Spieth, Ricky, Spring Breakers crew. Like they've been riding that wave obviously for so long. We have new studs now. Truthfully, for the first time in a while, we have real new studs that are coming straight from college, that are going to be big names.
Yeah, it was funny seeing like Spieth has never had a chance to win last week from the jump, but like he was playing that good third round, and he had bigger crowds and like bigger TV and bigger everything than the guys who are actually.
Yeah, I'm definitely Vic lapping Spieth, because I think I nailed Spieth's week. 1 elite round and 3 super average rounds that is obviously not going to be enough. So definitely Vic lapping that.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Ludwig. That's how we got to start this. 14-1 on Ludwig. What are your thoughts there?
I don't hate it. I really don't hate it because I just like Ludwig, and he's mixed a little bit and obviously got a little bit more experience than the rest of the young guns. Yeah, I can. He's not in the early leans yet, but I'm gonna say we'll have a good week.
Why isn't Akshay playing? I was about to compare Lud to the other young guns and say, like, how could you justify Lud at 14 when you've got all these other guys with like?
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if I can bet that 14.
Yeah, that was why I kicked off this talking about the other young guns and like saying, does that take away from Lud? It's not that Lud isn't an amazing golfer and that I'm still high on him as a player. It's just like, why does he keep going off at these odds when what's really that different than the other guys? That was the gist of the point. But then we get to the 20s, maybe some interesting names here. Victor Hovland's 20-1. Tommy Fleetwood 22. I thought it'd be worse on Tommy. I'll be honest with you. I thought
it was 22-1.
Yeah, I thought we would see Tommy in the teens. And then, of course, we've been waiting all year for this moment. But also it appears that the books have been waiting all year for this moment. They listen to the Podgers. They know that you bet Minwoo on the links. He's only 25 to 1 on FanDuel. That is unfortunate. And then Tom Kim, who has played great here the last 2 years and is in great form. He's 25 to 1 as well. Vic, Tommy, Minwoo, and TK, all below 25 to 1. Would you be interested in any of those?
I think I would be interested in Hovland the most. I just think this is a good spot to run him out to get ahead. Maybe he's played good golf in April, May. He's had some flashes of good golf, kind of dipped down a little bit. I like this golf course for him. He's been a really good golfer in opens of his short career in opens. So I think people may be waiting to run him out at Troon, maybe get ahead of it here, like the opposite of the Minwoo thing. Everyone's going to bet Minwoo here. Obviously, he makes sense. He's won here before, but before it was an elevated event or a PGA Tour event. Also, he should not have won that event. Thomas Dietrich got fucking screwed. So Minwoo shouldn't even be chalky this week because he should have a runner-up finish, not a win. And yeah, like we said earlier, we talked about it. We want Minwoo to have like an average to poor week this week. People, odds triple. We hop in next week. Because Minwoo links, yes. And also, this isn't like the prototypical links course, but you can't bet Minwoo at 25 to 1.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll say I'm not as, like, I get the Hovland angle. I think the price is fine. I still just need the putter to heat up more for him. Now, maybe he gets on these slow greens and it works out for him. I'm neutral on Hovland, I'd say. Minwoo's price is horrible. It's tough to see because no one has been speaking about Minwoo on the links longer than us. But yeah, it's going to be near impossible for me to bet Minwoo at 25 to 1. I'll consider it. I'll think through it. I really didn't have any leans coming into the pod today besides, like, yes, it's Minwoo on the links. That's a lean, but like I need to see the price. I need to think about it. TK at 25. It's a tough price on.
I think it's like fairer than we really think. I think it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, TK is a winner. He just about beat Scotty at Travelers. Like, the dude can play. He missed the cut at Rocket, but he probably just didn't give a fuck. He'd played like 8 weeks in a row. I think it's fair on Tom. Yeah. But
I mean, he almost won here when he was a child. Like, I mean, he's still a child. Like, when he was like 3 years old, he almost won. I just said J.H. Kim.
Those were the days. Kurt, shout out Kurt as well. Kurt's playing, I think. We'll get to Kurt in a second. Yeah. I think I'd rather have Collin at like 12 or 14 than any of those guys, if I'm being honest with you.
I think I agree with you, but with Xander. Like, I'd rather have Xander at 8, 9 than these guys.
Yeah, I agree. The 30s, a couple of guys who I don't hate these prices on them. Deki 30, JT 35. JT actually made some putts at Travi. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I'm happy with my JT call at the Travelers. I figured he T10. He loves a cookie cutter T10 design. Cookie cutter TPC design where you just make a ton of birdies. I like the around the green play here. The iron play can have success. He's been so good around the green this year, but I still don't trust him to make those putts. But hopefully the slow greens will help him. I probably will, actually, but to what degree? I don't know if I see JT winning. 40 to 1 might be a good number because the field isn't screaming the best field in the world. The greens are slow. I like the kind of the course fit. He probably catches my eye the most in this range. Deki, I mean, Hideki doesn't really scream links golfer. I would definitely probably lean with JT.
Yeah, I like JT this week. I've been out on him all year, specifically because I said I'm not partaking in anything JT. I do this sometimes with guys. I don't think it's ever done me wrong on, like, when I think about it, is I'll say, like, I don't care about you until you show me you can gain with the putter, and then I'll worry about you next week. And yeah, the way that can beat you is if somehow a guy goes from putting terribly to having one spike week, but that just doesn't happen. Like, it rarely does, especially in these big tournaments. That can happen in the ISCO next week. That's not going to happen really at Scottish. He gained over 2 at the putter at Travelers. The last 2 winners of this event have only gained like 2 strokes. If it plays the same stat line as it has historically, you can win with that. T5 at Travelers. We've seen the guys who play good at Travelers. Xander won Travelers. Rory was T7 at Travelers before they came here. This is the first time this year where I'm going to give JT like a legitimate look because he's 30 to 1 on FanDuel. Maybe there's some better prices out there. or he's 30. Yeah, 35 on FanDuel. If I don't go top of the board, I don't know why I'd bet any of these other guys below him with everything that I just said.
Yeah, and then there's a few guys around his number too that I also agree with. That like, why not just pound a few of these guys? I mean, obviously that strategy has not worked one time this entire year.
28-1 on Davey. The range of despair finally came home, and Akshay almost won at 22-1. So I think there's life in the range of despair recently, but it hasn't worked in these events. It's worked in a little bit.
How many winners do we have from 20 to 50-1? Is he like off the top of your head?
Davey, Knapp.
Worst bet of all time. Might be it.
Yeah, and those were both trash fields. Like, I mean, Scotty's won every event, so that takes away a lot of it. But True. In these events with some of the bigger names, yeah, it's either been top of the board or long shots. But there are some interesting names, I think, in this mid-range. Let me give you a few of the catch. We talked about Fitz last night. Him and Bobby Mack at 40's absurd, right?
A joke. Fitz I want to look at the Scottish market because I wanted to see that interested in the odds because we talked about it last night. We could fire some of those.
In the
we'll do that later.
Low Scott, yeah. I'm just gonna give me your like instant reaction, maybe one sentence to these guys between 40 and 60 in the odds because there's a lot of them this week, and I think they're bad, most of them. Bobby Mack, we just said Fitz is 40. Anything at all there?
No, I tried to this year and maybe 5 or 6 times. Hasn't treated me right, but I mean, he'll probably win this week. He's played really good here. He's played good here in his career, so. And
he's happily engaged now, so
who knows where Jersey Shore native Matt Fitz.
Connors, this pisses me off. Connors is 45. Like I love Connors on the links. I love him on the slower greens. Like he was going to be one of my guys this week, but 45-1, that's a no-go.
I'm honestly, I'm shocked that he's that number. I mean, I'm sure you are too. I don't even really love him, to be honest. So just like a total cross-off for me.
I think it's like the books I feel like are sharp, at least out of the gates. Like looking at these odds out of the gates, the guys who would be the sneaky plays, the Minwoo, they get Connors on slower greens, like they're on those. So don't chase, I would say. Like it's going to be easy to chase this week. I wouldn't do it. I'm going to try to avoid it. Sungjae is at least up to 45. That's obviously a better number on Sungjae. I don't hate that.
Yeah, that's the above. The threshold is 30, but I probably should make that even to 40. Yeah. So, I mean, you look at Sungjae's stats, you're not going to be disappointed.
Here are two guys who I think these odds are very fair. One is a winner. One is a loser. They're both 50-1. Wyndy C and Theegs are both 50-1 this week. I like both of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are my favorite 2 bets of the week. I have not pulled the trigger, so those are my favorite 2 golfers of the week. Both make a ton of sense. Obviously, Sahith didn't play well here last year, but course history really does not matter too much with Sahith. He's a bet the number guy, spike in any category, and I feel like this course combines his 2 best assets. Like when you think of Sahith, like the links make sense. Drive it as far as you can, but be super creative around the greens. And then you get the American style of it because Sahith's a modern golfer. So those just combine everything for Sahith. And Wyndham, he's hit the ball really well here in his last 2 trips, but he's putt poorly. I'm not too worried about the putter because Wyndham is like a good putter. And I'm not a Wyndham guy at all. I can count on one hand the times I bet Wyndham, but this is the first time I've actually excited about him. And I picked him in our 1-and-done show in the preseason. So I'm down for Wyndham.
Yeah, he was T16 here in 2022, and that was before he was Wyndy. That was
before Wyndham. He was an Olympian.
In 2022, Wyndham Clark finished T16. Wyndy C was T25 last year. Yeah, I think both of those, and an early look at the odds board, are some of the obviously best numbers because then you go up. You've got Ben on at 55. He's played well here before. You're in on at 55?
Yeah.
I mean, not like you're not committing to it, but like you think that's a fair bet.
Yeah, I really do think it's a good number. But I'm worried about like the withdrawal and the miscut in his last 2 starts, but I think he finished inside the top 5, like T3 here last year. And he's a guy who can launch the driver. If the wind's down, he can just send it. And he's got an unbelievable short game. Putter is always a question mark. Strokes gained, slow greens, though, could help. I mean, you bet U.S. amateur winners at the Renaissance. Everyone knows that. So I can get behind it.
I don't think I could get behind it. I think
I like too short.
Yeah, I get it. Like, it's not. I'm not saying he's gonna play bad. I think he could be up there. It's just I don't really want Ben on at 55-1. Harmon, Homa, and Rye are all 55.
He was the same number in like I think it was the players. Was it the players where he was
he's been like 55-1 all year. He's just
even in those guys that like drift in like Tony would get to 100 in majors. Ben on was like 60-1. I remember me and you were like looking at the odds board one day. And we were like, why is it was that Valhalla? Because we were watching him and we were like, Ben on looks all right. What's his number? And he was like 55-1. We were like, what the fuck? And then I
think it's just like those guys who are sick tee to green with distance. The books just never. He might be able to do it. Harmon 55, Rye 55, Homa's 55. My Homa take that his career is in jeopardy because he might have the yips with the driver. I'm not. I hope that it's not true. I love Max. He's one of my favorite players. I don't want that to be true, but he was crying on the course at Travelers. He's up to 55. If he was, I've bet him here before. This is a course that makes sense.
He played well. He's played well here.
Yeah, like
T16 and better the last 2 years.
Do you think? But God,
But if there's a place where you can be a little bit wayward with the driver, it's across the pond.
Yeah, but I worry that like what he's done well here is drive it. His approach has actually been really bad here, and he's driven it good. I'm still like, this is similar to the JT putting thing. I'm out on Max in all aspects until he shows me one good driving performance. And if he does that and he wins the 1 week that all of a sudden he fixes it, then that's cool. But there's really no price under like 100 that I think I could bet Max or even.
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't go there, but I feel like those 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off he's taken can only help him. So he played a lot of golf in the last when the driver was awful. So hopefully he got back with believe with Blackburn and figured it out, because when he's driving it well, he's obviously could be elite. And that's something we don't know because we're not going to be there until next week. But I can see myself sprinkling Max if I start my card in the Sahith Theegs range, Sahith Wyndy range, and then just going that way. But that's probably not a good strategy because it hasn't freaking worked.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, full disclosure, because there might be people listening for the first time this week, you never know. I believe you gave the same take about Max at Travelers, that like you never know.
No, it was Memorial, I think. Or no, one of the Travelers.
It was Travie, and then he was crying on the course. So I have to push back hard on the Max takes. That yes, it does the course history come through? Maybe. I'm just worried right now about our guy.
How could you not be worried? Rightfully so. We both like Max. We both hit Max multiple times. At these numbers, like we have. What was the highest number we hit Max?
That's fair. That's fair. I think Wells was the best number I got him. He was like 45 or 50 at Wells.
Yeah, 45 or 50.
But that was back when he was like showing good form, and he just was lower on the odds because he like wasn't as polished. His stats look like 100 plus. He reminds me of kind of like Spieth or Day last week, where it's just like, if you eliminate the name and you just look at the numbers, it's hard to make any sense.
I mean, this is a not really probably a good comparison, but he won the Fortinet in awful form over a break at the same number. So, but we'll move on from Max because this is too much Max.
Yeah, we went down a Max rabbit hole, but that's okay because I think it's a legitimate thing we need to watch is what's going on with Max, because it is weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's get to random year of the week right now, because this is what random year of the week was invented for.
Is a big week for random year of the week.
Pretty much all the Euros. Like, who's the lowest price Euro this week that's coming over from the DP? It's Tom McKibben.
Yeah.
And 90-1.
I was going to say him. That sucks.
So McKibben's 90. Rasmus is 110.
Nikolai's 125-1.
Jordan Smith 110. Zero dog, least dog in the game.
First round leader.
Berg's off of victory last week. He's 110. And then everybody kind of like Nakajima's 120. Burnvies 150. And then everybody's kind of longer than that. Give me Seb Soda's 170, Rio's 170. That's a good price on Rio. Give me some names. Just give me some names. There's probably people listening right now who don't know the DP. They don't watch it. You watch it every week. You bet it every week. Where do we need to be looking? What's the deal with the random Europe
I mean,
and specifically guys coming over from the DP.
Yeah, there's a ton of golfers who can't win this event because they're DP World Tour golfers, but they can play well, be a first round leader, and finish inside the top 10. Quick sob story: I bet Ewan Ferguson the last 3 events, and I got off him this week. Naturally, he won. Honestly, that we always talk about that shit, but it doesn't really happen, and it freaking happened. So there's a ton of names that can do that, and I was going to say Tom McKibben is going to be my favorite golfer just because he's a young stud, oozing confidence, the pride of Northern Ireland, but he is, I guess, the #1 DP World Tour in the odds board, but he's still 100 to 1, playing great golf, multiple top 10 finishes over the last few events, played great at Valhalla, and he's a golfer who can send it off the tee, and he checks boxes to spike in any category. So Tom makes a ton of sense. So Seb Sodes is like, I think he's still the 2nd or 3rd on the DP World Tour standings, but he hasn't played in forever. Him losing the Scandi Mix might have been a career ender for him, sadly. But there's some names. Nakajima is playing good golf. I think he he finished like T20 last week, but he finished T6 the week before that. Stud who can win, one of those young Japanese studs. So between those two, I would say Tom, Nakajima, but I mean Nikolai is 125. I really also final one. I love Rasmus, and I can honestly see myself betting Rasmus because
How's he been playing?
This is the one he's been playing great golf. Finished T4 in his last start, and this is like the one chance he gets. Like I can make a name for myself and beat my brother because everyone knows Nikolai. I can beat my brother, and if there's one thing Rasmus can do, he can gain 11 strokes putting, and the ball striking is finally showing good signs. He might be the one European tour guy I could bet, but he's like higher odds than his brother, which is crazy. That's crazy.
Both Højgaards have had top 10s here. Rasmus was top 10 in 2022. Nikolai in 2023. Yeah, I mean, one of the Hoges winning the Scottish co-sanctioned. I mean, it just makes sense. We definitely have to give them both thorough consideration. This is now a PGA Tour winner. This is now a PGA Tour champion. This is now a U.S. Open winner. Why is Pavs 120 to 1?
I think it's a fair number. I'm a Pavs hater.
What
bad number? No, actually bad number.
Like whether you're a Pavs hater or not, he won at Torrey.
Yeah,
he just almost won the U.S. Open. He finished top. He finished top 20 at Travelers, and he's T12 here back when it was DP, but then he was T36 here in 2022 in the co-sanctioned event. I'm just saying, want to know who can make a fuck ton of putts? Pavs.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got dog. What are we doing? He's T12 at the Masters.
If he's in this price, I wonder what he's like. He was gonna make the cut. I wonder what his DFS price will be. Like 7,300. Like that could be a staple play.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I think Pavs is like some special talented golfer. Like I think he's had like a hot season. I just don't think the number makes any sense because he's won twice around the world in his last 25 starts. You can win Torrey, you can win here. He does what I want you to do. He spikes with the putter. That's his game. Like I just don't see. Yeah. And then he gets like he's flying high. He's the DP guy coming back over to the DP. Like look at me. I'm the fucking man. I'm Pavs. I've won on the PGA Tour. Like he's going to be confident. I just don't see why is Pavs a longer price than McKibben or Fox or any of these guys. It doesn't make sense to me. Let's get Kurt. Kurt's in the hunt. Who do you like as a former champion here? And this is tongue in cheek. I know Kurt did not win this event. Kurt or Bernd Wies
or Alex Smalley
or Smalley. Because Bernd Wies is 150 to 1. He's won here before. And a quick look of the DP stats, you've had more eyes on it, but it looks like Bernd's been playing nice over on the DP.
Yeah, and he kind of will backdoor mix here and there. Like he'll be like 4 groups ahead of the leaders and like get 300 through 9 and just be there because anything can happen when that happens. I mean, obviously Kurt's game fits this golf course and he's won well. He's played really well here before. He's virtually a DP World Tour golfer too because he was a grinder for like 3 to 4 years.
If you win in was it Oman that he won? Yeah, I mean,
if you win in Oman, you can.
You're a DP win it here. He also won in Mauritius. Like, yeah, those are DP wins.
Those are deep cuts. Yeah, I like Kurt. I mean, he's a guy who will send it off the tee. I mean, Bay Hill, you got to send it off the tee. You can win there, you can win here. I'm down for Kurt.
I just think Bernd Wies, like looking at his stats quickly, he's got a shit ton of top 25s. He was second at the European Open, T7 at KLM. He's gaining on approach every start, which back in the day when Bernd Wies was at his best, that's what he was up to. Austria is a little too far away for the Viking Cup, I think, but continental Europe, it's at least in the realm too of Viking Cup. So it'd be nice to see him play well. Any other Viking Cup guys down the board this week? I'm trying to see.
Yeah, we might need a
Jesper Svens 400-1.
Last week I parlayed Sven top 5, top 10, and top 20. They had life on Saturday, and then it all came to fails. But I think we need a Italian on the DP on the Viking Cup team, because Guido's ball striking stats have been a joke over the last like 4 starts. I think last week they were a bit down, but they have been truly insane. Obviously, he has a win in there, but he's not scared to mix.
What about Rakuya? I saw him up on. I tuned in to a reasonable amount of the DP last week to kind of get the juices flowing. And Hoshino's been playing good this year. I know you hit him early in the year. He's 300-1 on both. Thirsty Laws 300. Like, my thing with the DP guys this week is, and we'll put a good amount of DP stuff up on the side. Obviously, we'll talk about these guys more, but there's a lot of guys that I'm seeing in the 300s, the 400s, even 500-1. Who are no different than the DP guys who are at 100, 125 in this field. Like, I wouldn't get sucked into the popular DP plays this week. I'd pass on those and I'd go for some of these guys further down the board. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I mean, like we said, I don't think these guys are gonna freaking win, but they can mix.
Haotong Lee is 500-1, and I just need people to know that Haotong has been playing better this year.
Recently it's been not great, but yes, this year he was
I think he was T20 in his last start at the BMW International.
What did he do? Wasn't it miscuts before that, or
yeah? But like for me with Haotong, it's like, did he play good last week? That's good enough for me. And at T20, 500-1, he's not going to win, but if he did get in the mix, he could win. Like, Haotong can throw his hat in the ring.
I mean, if you win at Harding Park.
Yeah, AJ champion. Pablo's 500-1. That's auto for me. He's not playing.
He's been tweeting about how bad he's been playing. He's like, my game is not sharp right now. I'm like,
the thing about Pablo is similar to how it's even more though than Haotong. Like, if Pablo magically found something and he can
make everything.
If the final two groups were Pablo, Rory, Xander, Collin, Ludwig, and Vic, if it was all the guys on the top of the odds board and Pablo was 3 shots behind, I would expect Pablo to win. That's the amount of dog that Pablo brings.
Okay, here's a question. If the final group was these 2 players, what would make you be like, Matt, we're driving to Renaissance today?
Because we'll be like, if we decide,
like, not even guys you bet, like, just who these 2 guys, or even like final 2 groups. Matt, we can't miss this.
Pablo's definitely in that. If it's a threesome because they're trying to get done early.
Okay, so I'll do my threesome too.
Pablo, this is Nikolai for sure.
Yeah,
Pablo, Nikolai. Man, this is tough because there's probably 10 guys in the mix who I could like put together this team with, but Pablo, Nikolai, and maybe like Theegs. Like Theegs being in Pablo, Theegs, Nikolai is like, that gets the juices flowing for sure.
All right, I will go. My threesome that if it's there, I'm gonna go is going to be Sharma. It's going to be Sharma, Theegs. Sadly, Akshay's not here. Sharma, Theegs, and Rye. That is my dream threesome.
I could if Jesper Svens, actually, I like Jesper Svens by himself with any other 3 players might be good enough for me to get over there, because we need to get some boots on the ground scouting for the Viking Cup of our guys in the mix. Like, I need to see how Jesper would perform in those conditions to see if he'd make the team.
Well, we'll be prepared for it.
Seb Soda's, like, any of the Viking Cup guys get in the final group, and I'd be.
Seb Soda's off the team now for good.
Yeah, he's banned he can't even talk to the players on the team. We want him as far away from them as possible, but should be a phenomenal event. I'm glad we're going to be there, boots in the UK on Saturday and Sunday, so that we can watch it at a normal time. Like, we're going to be taking it in.
LIV Valdy too.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a weekend.
The only thing we won't be able to be as on top of is the Barbie, but that's okay. I'm sure BK
and the Mexican food.
And the Mexican food. Those are the two concerns, but everything else should be
we don't know yet.
Should be tremendous. Let's quickly talk LIV Valdy before we get to the ISCO quickly. Give me the Valdy. I mean, we've seen Valdy a million times. It's a pretty straightforward course to handicap. What are you looking for at the Valdy?
I mean, we saw last year and the year before. The year before, it was just all stripers. And last year was guys just gaining infinity around the green and putting. So, I mean, it's a freaking birdie fest. There's multiple ways to do it. You can, I think, just take your narrative and run with it. You want guys who are going to bomb it and try to make a ton of putts, or you want guys who are going to lay back, hit their middle irons, and hit the irons close and then make putts from there. There's multiple ways to do it. It's just a -25 to -20 event. No, I don't think you have to overthink it. Take some shots down the board. I don't know if you want to chase the Clintons and the Michael Thorbjornsons of the world. Yeah, they are playing good golf, but yes, they are also 20 years old. They don't just win; they will play well. But I don't think we should bet them at 14 and 20 to 1. Like, I bet Thorbjornsen in a very similar field last week at 100 to 1. The fields aren't that different from the JDC to the freaking Barbasol, and the number is a fifth of what I betted at. Will he win? Like, probably not. I think this is a week where you just spray the board and you can find some targets. I've mixed it. We both mixed in this event. I mean, we probably should have been on Vinny Norms, even though he wasn't in good form, but don't go too far into the weeds. Bet your guys, bet birdie makers, and have a sweat. You'll have a sweat.
You threw me off there because I thought we were talking LIV Valdy, but quickly, and I was like, this is not LIV Valdy. This doesn't make sense. We're not looking for bombers and like birdie guys at LIV Valdy, but it made sense once I understood where we were going with it. You were talking about the ISCO, the ISCO. I wanted to do Valdy first because I know the LIV people are listening and they're going to be so upset that we saved LIV for last.
We got to stay true to our guns.
But you were in the DP, you were in the co-sanctioned mode. You want to talk about the ISCO, you want to talk about the Barbie first. That's fine. We'll go that route. And I think now, if people need to re-listen to it to be like, oh, that's what we're talking about, just roll it back, because what you described about the ISCO is 100% true. That was nailed. And what you were talking about was that Luke Clanton and Michael Thorbs are both under 20 to 1 now. Luke Clanton's 14 to 1 and Michael Thor is 18 to 1. Oh, we just talked about how much we love and then the next guy on the odd boards is Neil Shipp at 40. Why would we?
It goes from like 20 to 40, right?
Yeah, with Neil Shipp like the point man at 40.
Yeah, I think we should bet these guys like the 40 range now, because hopefully just avoid some chalk and then just bet them, because those numbers, they're gonna come together a little bit. They have to. I think.
I don't know. Like, I mean, Vinny Norms was only like 25 to 1 last year, and he wasn't even in great form. No, like at the end of the day, Luke Clanton and Michael Thor are better golfers than the other guys, or like they've shown. And I totally agree. The numbers are terrible. I don't think I could bet either of these guys. I haven't fully decided yet. I'd probably go Thor. I don't think Clanton should be the favorite. I think Thor should be the favorite of these two guys, but like Patrick Fish is 70. I bet him at 250 last week.
I know you right?
Like Sam Bairstow 70. I mean,
I was gonna say Sam Bairstow can fuck here. Like he can take the route of last year, just gain infinity putting, and also it can spike with the approach too. I'm just gonna stay in my headspace of PGA Tour guys are winning this week. So like I'm gonna look at the odds board real quick.
What I was gonna say about Barbie.
Oh, JJ's gone chart, but he's gonna play so well.
You were worried about him going to the final round last week.
I was actually truthfully worried.
He's got some dog, not a ton, but like a limited amount at least.
Toasty 70, he can fit that mold.
Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say was, since we're talking Barbie now, is that last year the stat line of the two guys in the playoffs were 0 on approach and just a fuck ton around the green and putting. Vinny did it by bombing. Kimsey did it by like not even driving it that well at all. Ideally,
everything on Sunday. It was so annoying. I Trevor Cone.
Yeah, bombers. Like I lean bombers, but if you can get a bomber and a putter, together, the old driver putter mix, that's what I would be on the lookout for.
I mean, David Micheluzzi, 125-1, young stud, almost won last week.
He's going to be chalk. He's got no chance.
I think he's going to be chalk.
Alejandro, yeah, like people bet Micheluzzi on the DP all the time for no reason because I think he played good in Australia for a little bit. Like he's always chalk, and he finally played good last week. I genuinely think he'll be chalk this week, and I do not support it in any way, shape, or form. I like both the Cootie brothers. Why not?
Yeah,
why not the Cooties here? Like the Cooties aren't that different than Clanton and Thor. They're just young guns who can rip it from the tee. Harry Hall 60, Nick Hardy. Johannes Veerman is 55-1. That is grotesque.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think Spawn will be a very popular bet, to be honest, because he's playing probably better than anyone in this field, except for like literally better than anyone in this field the last 2 months. Yeah, this is virtually a DP World Tour event. ADDC, I'll probably bet because I like him in the Midwest. You play ADDC in the Midwest, everyone knows that. So it's gonna be bombs. It's gonna be just a bunch of bombs. So I don't have any more real takes.
I will
shot 500-1.
Disagree also that Spawn has been playing better than anyone in this field. He was T23 last week, T10 at Rocket, but then he's missed a shit ton of cuts.
You're gonna say Clanton?
Both Clanton and Thor in the last 2 weeks have beaten Spawn.
I feel like Spawn's been like the last 7 weeks. He's been striping.
You're talking about JJ Spawn, the guy who won the Valero?
Yeah, am I wrong?
He went T23 at John Deere, T10 at Rocket, and then before that was cut T26, cut T51, and he's not strapping. So
what?
Yeah, I think you're.
Dude,
I think
he's gained an approach in he's gained an approach in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 straight events, 9 straight events. Okay,
yeah, but
the results aren't
that. But like half of those,
there's bad putting. Yeah, but
I'm not saying
showing
I'm
the
out.
signs of the Spawn.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm out on JJ. I just needed to push back on that. He's playing better than everybody in the field. But I'm down 45-1 on JJ. Why not? Hayden Springs was 45. That's insane. A guy that could carry it over. He's a birdie maker. I was kind of mad I didn't bet him last week because he's kind of my guy. Is Carson Young? He's 45. Yeah, like Carson at 45 makes more sense than Michael Thor or Clance at 14 or 18.
Yeah, and Carson, he was in kind of rough form, like the last. I mean, this whole year. I mean, shout out Cameron Kerr, my producer for a different network. He is a Carson Young mega fan. They talk regularly, and he was saying how Carson is on the brink of losing his tour card and how important that week was last week, and he missed a putt on 18, and he only made $360K, and he was trying to feel bad for him. I was like, Cam, dude, I don't feel bad for him. I'm sure he's all right.
He was T8 in Mexico, T14 at RBC, and T5 last week. Like, you get Carson at a place where distance isn't like, you would like distance, but it's not. You don't have to have distance. Kimsey doesn't have distance, and he's a birdie maker, and he's 45-1. He's played good in these birdie fest events. So early look at the board. I like Carson at 45. I like
don't need distance.
Ben Silverman's kind of
Strillman, Power, Posty. Those guys aren't bombers.
Ben Silvers is kind of our boy now.
Why don't we go back?
He's 45-1. We probably should.
I didn't even know you were on him until like Thursday afternoon, I think. And then because we were texting about it, he's elite. He's making everything.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we bet Ben Silverman? He's so good at putting and approach. We were on him last week. He played fine. He never makes bogeys. He's like really high on the tour in bogey avoidance. The guy just like plots around. I don't know if he can shoot 25 under. That's my only problem with him. But purely at being, he's the PGA. He's a better version of Alexander Bjork. Shout out the DP crossover events.
Yeah, a much better version of
Bjork mixed up the Scottish.
He did? When was that? I don't remember that.
The year Xander won. I think Bjork was up there.
Do we need
to?
You're probably right. I don't remember that.
He finished T42, but he was, I think Saturday he was up there, and I think he ejected.
I believe you. I think I don't remember that because I was so pissed that Xander was going back to back. I'm like, I'm not freaking watching this weekend.
I think we should probably have our eyes on Bjork. He's been top 4. He's made just to make the cut. Like, you're looking for a guy to fill out your DFS lineups. Made the cut both times, and T54, T39, T12 his last 3 starts. Bjork's starting to get the juices flowing, and he's going to get over to the DP. He also knows that, like, coming into the year, he should have been a fundamental member of the Viking Cup, and he's
I was going to say he's co-captaincy. Like, he can be in the co-captaincy mix. Like, he's not probably going to play unless we have the event at Sudal, which is in the it could happen at Ringfin, sorry. So it could happen.
If Bjork's looking at this week as a huge opportunity to get back in the good graces of the Viking squad team ahead of the Open, when we'll have boots and we'll be able to see what he's working with. So yeah, keep your eyes on Bjork this week. But yeah, that's the ISCO. Now let's get to LIV Valdy. We've probably got a lot of angry comments now because I tried to take us to LIV Valdy. Blame Jers. I wanted to talk about LIV next. He's wearing his Torque shirt though, so how mad could he possibly be at him? He's supporting LIV here. He just told me before the pod he's bringing all of his LIV shirts over to the Open because historically when we have boots, we see like Dean, and we love Dean, and he's our guy, and you have a Stinger shirt, but you've never worn it and had Dean see it. Like, those are the experiences. Your Ripper shirt can't, like, you'll be rocking it. So if people are upset that it's an hour 15 and we're just not going to LIV Valdy, it's okay. Be mad at Jers, but also you can't be mad at Jers because no man rocks the apparel of LIV harder than Matt Gannon. Now tell me about Valdy. It's not a Bombers course. It's not a birdie fest. This is one of the more unique kind of courses that you'll see people play. We've seen lots of events here over the years on the DP. I was on tags here when he won, gaining infinity putting, one of the great putting performances you've ever seen. Gooch won here.
That's sick.
Yeah. Curve it around the corners, find the fairways, make a shit ton of putts, scramble. I was surprised Bryson played as well as he did here last year.
Me too.
What do you think about that? Because he's at single bullet prices this week. I saw plus 650. I saw plus 700 on Bryson. He's obviously playing amazing golf, and he almost won here last year. He played good the fall in Nashville, even after like all the hype. He's kind of just vibing now at like a different level.
Yeah.
You like to single bullet Rom. Would you single bullet Bryson?
No. I mean, I can't single bullet Bryson at a course that fundamentally doesn't make sense, and that's not like he's played well here for 5 straight years, where like we see guys play well at their spots. Who really knows? We don't really know like what they did because there's not really like. I mean, we could go into the weeds and find the round by round LIV stuff, which we probably should have if I'm having this take. We don't really know what Bryson did last year, but I definitely can't single B Bryson. I haven't made my decision on LIV yet, but I can see myself doing something that you don't want me to do, but I'll just leave that there.
No,
but it's Valderrama. No, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything, but it's gonna be a fun week at Valderrama. It's one of the true courses that like holds the test of time with not being 7,800 yards, and it's tough. It's a tough course. You gotta hit your spot. So look for guys who
I will say, because what he's talking about is
don't even say it.
He's single bulleted Rom. We've both hit 3 winners in like 9 events on LIV, but I think all of the other events, Jers has single bulleted Rom. I will say though, this is why I brought it up.
We're in fucking Spain, dude. What do I do in Spain?
We're in Spain. I don't hate it. I've been out on the Rom single bullet. I don't hate it. I'll give it a look myself this week because I mean, how's he played at Valdy in his career? Hold on. What Andalusia, is that what this event was called? Yeah, hold on. Valderrama.
We are in.
He was T2 cut. It's worked once.
Fine, and it's a golf course that I took Sergio 10 years to play well here. 10 years.
But then he played good.
Then he won. I'm saying then he won 3 straight times, or not 3 straight times. He won 3 times. It's a golf. I think you have to have played well here before, or like at least played here before. You have like John Catlin has a massive leg up this week on the field.
Obviously,
John Catlin could be, if he was 10-1, no one would bat an eye.
Wow, he's only 65-1.
Horrible number. I saw people tweeting about it earlier. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Belandi at 30. Want to know who's been plotting his golf ball around and playing unbelievable golf? Richard Bland. Has he played?
What have Richard Bland and David Skins been doing the last 3 years? Like they have been, they're peaking at like, how old are they? 50?
Bland is 51. Davey Skins, I think, is a little bit younger, but Skins is a good play at the. He's 42, but he's also a good play at the ISCO.
Agreed.
What was I going to say about? I was going to see if Bland had played at Valdy because most of these DP guys have all.
I mean, last year.
Yeah, plus last year. But I was just gonna say because I figured that the DP guys have played this a reasonable amount. He's not played good here at all. Terrible.
Damn.
So that's a bad price, and I probably Brooks is 22. Maybe he played good here last time.
Yeah, he was one of the few because it was the 3 guys and everyone else was like. Actually, this is a weird stat. I think there was 30. I think it was 34 or 36 golfers at par or above par, which is crazy for like any sort of professional golf that's like not in a major, and that just shows like
LIV too, because like the courses are usually easier. But just like it's a place where if it's going wrong for you or you don't like the vibes, you're just.
I think around the green is huge this week. Like even if you're in the fairway, you're gonna miss screens. You're gonna have to scramble. Like you can easily make a double on any hole that could just derail your event. So bogey avoidance, just managing your mistakes is huge this week. Strokes gain, patience, which is not ROM, is huge this week. So I don't want to say anything yet, but I can see myself doing it, which I think will be in 6 of 9 events or 5 of 9 events, single bullet ROM.
So he better win soon, or on ROM specifically. Even if he hits, you'd still be down on ROM individually for the year. But the thing about Brooks this week is that it kind of feels to me like it did when he won in Singapore, where no one was really on him. He was in the 20s. He had played good at Singapore the year before. The next event after Singapore was a major.
It's okay. I was going to ask that.
He didn't play good at Nashville, but that's fine. Like I don't care about that.
Yeah, well, and Brooks is a European too, so.
And Brooks has been distracted because the P's were in the playoffs trying to win the Stanley Cup. And now that the Cup's been won, he's ready to play good again. I just think in the 20s, like, why would I bet
he played here before? Like on the Challenge Tour or on the DP World Tour?
No, I don't think so. But he played good here
last year.
Yeah, he didn't play here on the DP, but he was 3rd here last year off of probably slightly better form overall, but still, it just reminds me of Singapore when I was like, why wouldn't I just bet Brooks at 20? And then I didn't. And it was the week before. It was the 2 weeks before, but it was still the last event before the PGA. He played fine at the US Open tee to green. He finished T26. He putted like an absolute idiot. But yeah, I don't see any reason why that would be a bad bet versus guys like Hatton, Sergio Gooch, Cam Smith, Reed, Louis, Dean, Carlos. All those guys that I just listed are the same price or below Brooks. That's just kind of absurd.
Emergency alert. I'm hearing Keegan is going to be the captain.
No, you're joking. That's not serious. That can't be serious. Keegan is going to be captain of the Ryder Cup team?
That's what I see on Twitter. I'm hoping this is a false alarm. I really am hoping this is a false alarm.
Hold on. No.
Are you seeing that too?
I'm seeing it. What?
Wow.
What are we doing?
Keegan Bradley. What are we doing?
No. He should have been on the Ryder Cup team last year when we were trying to win. And now what is this? Some sort of like, we're sorry that happened.
Payback?
Like payback. This is a competition. This isn't a charity. He earned his way on the team last year. He's not earned his way to be captain. What are we talking about? This has to be a joke.
Yeah. No real words.
What are we doing? The only player and captain that I wanted, I tweeted this the day of the Sunday last year at the last 2 years ago at the Ryder Cup, is Cantlay. Cantlay should be the playing captain, and he should lean into paying the players and giving them bonuses if they win. That's the playing captain that I want, is Patrick Cantlay, because he can be like, guys, I got this sick deal with Apollo and fucking Blackstone, and I just talked to Jamie Dimon. Like, I've got all the money lined up. If we win the Ryder Cup, it's going to be 10 million for everybody. We lean into like, oh, the Euros are good because they've got team and like chemistry, and the US has no chemistry. Just lean into it. Be like, we have no chemistry. Find a way to pay these guys. Cantlay would do that. Keegan's the opposite. Keegan's going to be all lovey-dovey, like.
But he's not even boys. He's not boys with any of them.
What are we doing? What is? Has anything like this ever happened before? Where a guy who's literally, how old is Keegan? Is he the youngest captain ever?
Probably.
At least like in recent, at least in the modern.
No, like I think that's true.
He's 38. How did this happen? What experience of leadership? Maybe he does. Maybe he does. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, in the only way I can see it is if like multiple guys denied it. Because
yeah, like
Tiger, they asked.
He would be like, how far if yesterday morning I said list off your Ryder Cup captain, like start at the top
my God,
with Tiger and work your way in, he wouldn't have been in the top 200 probably.
I was gonna say further maybe.
I would have listed off like 50 to 100 like Fortune 500 CEOs or like people who have nothing to do with golf whatsoever before Keegan.
Wow.
I was gonna.
I almost didn't say anything because I thought it was so far off of like this is not real, and then I saw it again. I was like, what the hell?
The thing was when you first said it, I was like, no, you must have just seen like a joke post. But I know you would be on the lookout for such a thing. So like when you reiterated it, I was like, this seems serious. And then I opened up Twitter and the first 10 posts I saw were all like people saying that. But they're all basing it off of one report from one reporter. So
I mean, that would be an all-time like the guy that tweeted out "Judge to the Angels" or "Judge to the Giants." I forget his name. Was it?
Or Ohtani to the Blue Jays? Like it could be one of those situations. But this is shocking news.
Yeah,
and concerning news. Like I might get a bet in on the Euros.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is horrible news. We can't, if we lose the Ryder Cup at Bethpage to the Euros, that's a tough scene. And we're picking Keegan as our captain. He should have been on the team. It's an unserious organization. The two most unserious organizations outside of the PGA Tour are the Ryder Cup organization and the U.S. men's soccer team. The two most unserious organizations that exist. This is something the U.S. men's national team would do.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, this is... Actually, I think Keegan's a better option than the U.S. men's national team coach. I do.
Okay, well, this was unexpected news to finish the pod, but I'm glad that we were like 5 minutes from ending the pod. I'm glad that we were able to comment on the situation in real time. Like I was going to wait. I was going to work on a few other things before posting the pod, but I'm going to expedite getting the pod posted because like we've got breaking news,
real time action,
real time covers. But Jers, this should be a tremendous week by every measure. And this is merely a warm-up for what we have in store for next week. The boots on the ground finale of the year, the Open Championship at Royal Troon. Like I said, we are going to let the links experience soak in. We're going to play Prestwick. We're going to play some other courses on the western side of Scotland. The weather, Jers, looks tremendous. Let me tell you, it's going to be about 60 degrees. I'm not seeing much rain in the forecast. This looks like you get your Malbon gear out. You wear the long sleeves and the pants when it's 90 degrees outside. You have to be thrilled with how things are shaping from a weather standpoint.
This is going to be beautiful. We were playing multiple rounds this week. Definitely going to have the competitive juices flowing. Definitely, we're playing roughly, probably, I would say $700 to $1,000 a hole. So, drop your comments. Who comes up this week on the matches that we have going? I think we have 3 or 4 matches planned. It's been pretty back and forth with us. So he's got mental reps. He's got mental reps going right now. Strong mental reps. So it could be huge.
Yeah, and I think what we should do is we should have both daily matches on each 9 and then over the 18. We should also have a 54 hole or 72, depending on how we play. Holistic overarching match, links champion across all.
Yeah, we'll have some sort of format dictated before we go and post it in the Discord so people can track it.
Get in the Discord. We've played.
We will take your bets. We will take your bets.
Yep. And then we'll let you know how it turned out. So yeah, what a pod. Genesis Scottish Open, JDC, the ISCO, the ISCO, whatever it's called, the Barbie, LIV Valdy, and this breaking news that Keegan is going to be the Ryder Cup captain. Very concerning things here for the Americans. We'll get over there. We'll cross the pond, try to clear our heads next week. We leave on Friday. We look forward to engaging with people. We'll tweet out the schedule of content. Get to the site, get signed up, $9.99 for the weekly. Might want to get the monthly because I'm going to be honest, I've been seeing the board nicely. Jersey, you've been seeing the board nicely all year. We've got so many events. Yeah. Let's try to get some winners. Let's try to get some good advice out there for the people. Let's try to get some community going in the Discord. They'll have the LPGA in there as well. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to everybody soon.